And a very good evening. Welcome to DUANEO podcast number 16 and number 9, ninth week, shall I say, of discussing all things NRRRL. And we're getting through to the eve of the finals now, at least in the Northern Conference. One more weekend of the regular season to go, and then who would have thought we're talking finals, and as we approach closer and closer to that month of October. So it's starting to be exciting, even though it's a shorter competition, but a little bit of a buzz taken out here tonight with no Mickey Coleman. He's had the night off tonight, so Shorey, you've got big shoes to fill with. You've had 2 weeks off yourself, so you should be able to be also all guns blazing tonight.
I know what it's like for Mickey. The amount of time we spend in show prep for this, so you don't see it behind the scenes, but it's about 20 or 30 hours during the week that we spend. And so Mickey's had a bit of burnout, so he'll sit this one out. I've recovered and ready to go.
And you've even taken the time to go out. Where are you tonight?
I happen to be in Casino tonight. It just helps me to remember the game because we watch Casino play. And I find if I record a podcast in the vicinity of the club, it just helps. Okay,
so and you're talking about the game that you watched yesterday, not the game that we called on Sunday because it wasn't Casino.
No, so I watched Casino Mullen last night.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so
whatever.
Just reliving that game in my head now. I thought, what better place to do it than the Casino RSM?
Whatever makes you get on the job there, Shorey. It's better to you to go out an hour just to get a vibe than not have you at all. So, Christy, mate, talk some sense, mate. How was your weekend?
Never was good. I apologise, boys. I'm in one of the bedrooms here, so it's not as exciting as the Casino RSM, Shorey. But mate, yeah, good weekend. Watched a bit of footy. Watched the Tweed Coast Raiders the Murbar game. So obviously we'll talk about that. So yeah, mate, excited, getting to the pointy end. So let's go.
And absolutely. So whilst your memory's still fresh, or while you've got the Casino vibe, even though the game was at Mullumbimby, which would have been a bit closer for you. And speaking of the Mullumbimby, you were talking up Mullumbimby pretty big on the Roy and HG podcast on Saturday. Basically gave the club's history, and so I guess it's only fair you talk up Casino, but there is a bit to talk up. 48 points to 10. So what a 360, despite the fact that unfortunately we thought in Mullum's case it was sort of to be expected with losing all those players over the Tweed Gold Coast bubble. But Casino, what a big effort! 48 points to 10, and I think I'm sort of not surprised that Casino could put a score like that on, because now they're starting to settle out on on a back line and a forward line. Be it though we're running out of games in the season, so it's just a shame though we don't have a 16-round comp, because Casino could potentially even make a late run with this team. When you got Thomas McGrady scored a hat-trick, Noah King got over, Joe Olive, Damien Ben. Joe Olive kicked 8 goals. And from Mullumbimby,
he kicked 8 out of 8.
8 out of 8 even. Wow.
Yeah, that's a stat.
Yeah. So that is quite a stat. So
it is.
So it's just, as I said, these younger boys are just finding their groove, and they're sort of getting. You think now they're sort of getting there, but it's just a shame that there's only a couple of games left. But sure, you watched the game. Talk us through.
I did. I normally don't watch any games where they don't employ commentators, because I don't want to see a commentator out of a job. But I watched it last night, and it was interesting watching it without the commentary. And what really struck you, because they've got the ref mics on, and we haven't said it enough in this podcast, what an amazing job these refs and touchies do in this competition, in all local sporting competitions. They're out there working so bloody hard. They're talking non-stop. They've got control of the game, and they do a very good job. So big ups to the refs. It was really good to listen into the refs' mic and hear how they communicate clearly to all the players and everyone on the field.
Gives you a bit of perspective, I guess.
Another perspective. Really does. Yeah. So it was a really good game. It was close at the start. So the scoreline blew out to, 40-10, but it didn't look like that for the first quarter. Both teams were sticking to each other, but there was a huge injury on Sean Watkins, which delayed the game by maybe 25 minutes or so. Right, I think it was towards the end of the first quarter. The ambulance had to come on the field, and there was concern for he couldn't feel his legs and whatnot. So it was pretty serious. It was a bit of a worry, but I messaged a couple of the boys while I was watching. I'm like, geez. I messaged Wade Kelly and I said, "G'day, mate. How's Sean going?" And he's in the group chat, very lively. It was just like some muscle spasms, perhaps in the lower back. So that was okay, but yeah, Mullins struggled off the bench. Wade Kelly was up in the coach's box talking, and they get the call, and I think Castellanos, the other big fella, he got a call. He was up in the clubhouse, I think. I'm not sure if you had a beer or not yet.
Shorey, you actually made mention that they're struggling with the bench and stuff, and so I didn't know the fact that Sean Watkins had that bad injury, but then the game that we did nearly a fortnight ago, Reece Carruth done his leg, or an ACL, sorry. And then then they had a few other injuries. So they obviously don't have Reggie's. And I'm starting to be concerned if they're even going to have an A grade to fill out these last two games, or if they even going to play.
Are they going to finish the year? Yeah.
Because they got Ballon. I think they've got Morris Brothers on Sunday, and then they got Ballona the following week, and that's almost going to be like, well, like we want to play, but they're going to have players to play.
I think they will. They'll push through. As you hear later in this podcast with our chat with Rodney from Ballona, it's so important for the community and everything to go out there and play. And I think Mullen were just doing that now. They walked away. They could hold their heads up high. It was a big scoreline in the end, but they stuck it to Casino, and they made them work for it. So I no doubt they'll be there the next couple of weeks. They're just going to do it tough right out this season and come back bigger and stronger next year.
That's right. And as I said last week, and look, hypotheticals aside, but obviously they wouldn't have been able to play at Mullen, but it would almost feel like, well, they would have done what Byron were going to do and play, say, at Moolumbar or Cabba or something like that. And then because they've lost 9 players on the bounce because of this border crap. So, but Crossy, I'm not sure if you saw the game or not, but is there anything you, knowing who I've just told you who the try scorers are for Casino and what that you want to piece to it?
No, that's good. I'm glad to hear that McGrady scored 3. And we didn't mention Noah King's name there, did we?
He scored 1. Yeah, he scored 1.
Oh, he's got a try. I beg your pardon. So, well, that's good. So I think I said it last week, mate. I just hope that they are building a platform for next year, and that they can recruit couple of key guys in key positions that can really sort of take them deep into the finals next year.
Yeah. So, but as I say, Casino, like 48-10, impressive scoreline. As it just probably, I think time's going to run out for them. Though, while they'll technically will still be playing finals, so I think top 4 go through in a 5-team comp. But would have been interesting to see if we played 5 games now, if they had another 7 or 8 or not even 9 games to play, because they would probably still make a top 5 even based on what they've got here in a full 10-round comp. Like, it's just sort of like maybe what Coogin were like last year, where they had lost 4 on the bounce and then they only lost 1 going into the finals, and then they lost that 1 to Tweed Coast at the end. But we'll never know, I guess. So the other Southern Conference game was the one that you and I did, Shorey, 44-14, Morris Brothers getting revenge in that Lismore Derby. What a day that was. Amongst the try scorers, Krause, the king, of course, scoring a double. Isaiah McKenzie scoring 1. It says Lachlan Kennedy scored 1 there, but I think that could have been Aiden Kennedy. Could be wrong. Joshua Patson getting over for 2. And for Northern United, Alan McKenzie, Clarence Kelly scoring another great line-breaking try from the Northern United half a field. And just keeping Northern United in it up until half-time, and then Fred Pitt getting 1 at the beginning of the 3rd quarter. So 7 tries to 3. Morris getting over Northern United, but Jacob Fulham kicking 4 goals. Joey Gordon's kicking just the 1. And speaking about Northern United, lads, it's almost like if they're going to win football games now, that they're going to have to give themselves a point start to get, because it's a confidence thing now with them. It certainly is. It's the moment, because this from 2 weeks ago, and we've said this in numerous podcasts. Northern United, you give them an 18-point lead, when they get a sniff, they run with it, but then they put the cue in the rack. When they are down by 12, for example, and really could have been down by more as 16 or 18, if it wasn't, I think Isaiah McKenzie should have scored one in an open gap to ground the ball. Clarence Kelly ended up scoring the other end about a couple of minutes later. That's a 16-point. Could have been 16, 18-0 at that point. Instead, it was 12-6 at that point. However, Northern United's like, they almost, like, if they're going to have a chance, they have to score the first try in games and then have something to go with, because they really got played out of that game when really, like, was only a try down at half time. Crossy, your thoughts?
Yeah, mate, Northern United to me are a team that they need to dominate possession. And I know that might be an obvious statement, but they do struggle. If teams do get consistent sets on Northern United, then they don't sort of hold too well through the middle. And I don't know how much resilience there is through that middle third. Nothing against Northern, but I don't know if they've got the fitness to go toe-to-toe with some teams. So you're right, Nev, in the sense that they need to score first. They need to get out to an early lead, but they also need guys like Bolt and Bell to, kick long, kick into touch, control that ball, because once they get starved of a bit of possession, you do see the tides can turn quickly on them. And that shows with their results. They have some big wins, and then that's disappointing to hear that they've had that big loss to Brothers. Yeah. So Brothers might have turned the corner, but Northern, I thought they would have been closer than that.
And Theo Hippai, they were missing him as well. And they had Denzel Dangerfield come back, and then he came back from an injury himself and then done his shoulder. I think it was his right shoulder early in the game. I think it could have even been one of his first touches. So they were down 2 players there. And like Theo Hippai, who was Northern's player of the match a fortnight ago, and got him in the field position in the first place to score a lot of those tries against Mullum. But we've not taken anything away from Maris, that what you see a lot in this competition is that, especially when when 2 teams play each other for the second time, you see vastly different results. Ballina Casino was an example, like Casino getting done by 60 points the first week and then bringing back to 20 the other. Probably another 20-point turnaround here. Northern United won by 12 the first time. Now it's a bit swung back, and then another 20, 30 points this time around. But Maris what they did is took Northern out of their comfort zone. They just pinned them in their own 20, which Northern, as you know, they're very dangerous inside their own 20, probably the best attacking team from their own end of the field to get a line break and then, bolt down 70, 80 metres. But Maris just really held that middle line. Probably no unfair Hippo wasn't there. They just dominated there. Like Josh Patson had a probably the best all-round game in attack and defence. The Kennedy boys just up the centre, just making it look ugly. And then you even iterated too when they tried to play. They weren't the same team up the forwards. Like there was a lot of handling errors from Northern up the middle. Like I think Dejan Jarrett dropped a couple. Grant Brown as well. There was a couple that just stand to mind. It was just when they tried to play the forwards that they just weren't reading as what they were a fortnight ago.
Yeah, they weren't. And like what Cross was saying, they don't have the fitness. But last week, you see those bodies, they're really big fellas. I was so surprised last week when we called the game, how many meters and hit-ups they were taking. And it just impressed, and how many minutes on the field they were doing. And it really impressed me a lot. But then this weekend, I just didn't see it all connecting. And then the back line, the spine wasn't, when they were passing out, they just weren't as slick as last week. I can't tell if the Maris were a better performing team against them, or it was the Mullumbimby, or that Northern played better. But it was a bit of both, perhaps.
You make a point there, sure. You make a point, and I think if I have to say it, it's probably because I was playing against a team a fortnight ago that only had 15 fit men on the field, 16, and then 15 when Breeze Carruth got done. So done his ACL.
They looked slicker last week, and the forwards were looking for the ball more.
It's true. as I said, Thea Hippai, his hands, he doesn't drop many balls, and he's not a player that you want to try and take on one-on-one and, in attack and defense as well. So, but as I said, like, if they have a fair dinkum go, Northern United, they'll beat any team on any given day, and they're still going to be. I don't think they're going to finish. Well, they can't finish any lower than third. They're in second at the moment, but Northern do have to play Ballina on the weekend, and Morris have got to play Mullum, and they'll even up points. But I think Morris have got a better for and against, and it's all going to come down to that last 1 or 2 weeks after that. So it's looking like it's going to matter very little. It's probably going to be a Lismore Derby in second versus third. So they'll have a chance to right the wrongs there, but they need to keep the bodies fit, and they need to put in an 80-minute performance to beat Morris, because Morris, as I said, they frustrated Northern United, made them force the errors and made it look a bit, a little bit ugly in parts. Sorry, Crossy, then sure.
Oh, sorry, boys. I was just going to say, talk to me about Brothers Attack. So I've been trying to get Krause to get in the game a little bit more, because we know how potent he is. So he scored 2 tries. Did he play well? Patson's obviously played well on that edge. Do we think Brothers look good?
Yeah, sure.
I thought they looked good. Krause's had better games. Patson was amazing. Really, worrying. Like, every time he got the ball close to the line, you think he'll score. They made a lot of line breaks. Their attack was pretty good. It wasn't a perfect performance, but it was a strong attack.
And I must say too, like, as we're talking about Krause, and he does this well. Like, we don't need to remind both of you two, but as I was just saying about how Morris were just frustrating Northern United. Krause was just doing that both in a football sense and just a Krause sense. He was frustrating Northern United in defence, like running side on and just slipping out, and Northern was just trying their best to try and grab him, and like, not every time that he scored points, but he just it was mind games, and that's what Krause does well. And I think that even played a bit of a factor too, boys.
Well, and also Northern United were playing with 11 men for.
That's true. Yeah, a few players got marched towards the end there. I think Grant Brown was he the one that got sent off, or am I thinking of someone else there? Sorry.
Did Pitt go off? Fred Pitt?
Oh, I don't know.
I forget who went off.
One got Simbi and one got sent off, and then
I think Fred Pitt got sent for 10, and then another fella got sent off, and then the points piled on. Yeah, because after that, the points just probably not a true reflection of the game. As I said, it was only 6 points in it for a lot of it, but I feel if Northern scored that first trial too, we could be seeing a completely different result. Actually, I think that's actually what happened when they first played. So that's sort of what you look for when Northern United play. If they score the first try, you think they're going to do well and they'll run with it. If they concede the first try, then I think just got to believe in themselves a bit more too. Like, then, as I said, they almost did bring back, as I said, it could potentially 16, 18 point unanswered first quarter. They bring it back to 6 down the other way with Clarence Kelly, captain's effort try. But then, as I said, they kind of just lost a little bit of discipline there, and Morris just made it ugly and got the points that they needed. So anyway, that's the goal comp. And I just want to, now that we've covered a couple of games on the live stream in the goal comp as well as the tweet comp, here's some interesting stats. Now, we're not comparing teams or players here. We're just going to compete the margins of the games. So, and this some stats that stand out. In the tweet comp, there's 6 games that were decided by 4 points or less. Only 2 were decided by more than 12 or more. So 12, 20, whatever. Only 2 games. And the goal comp, 6 games were decided by 24 points or more. Only 2 of those games were 18 or less. I think the lowest was, and actually none of those were less than 12 points. So it makes you feel, so you just see how tight one competition is and the other one. I'll just get your thoughts on hearing that, Crossy. What's your take on when you hear stats like that?
Yeah, my initial thoughts were not surprising. I thought that's where you were headed. Watching that Northern comp, most of those games are toss a coin each week to see who wins. And the Southern Comp, you can generally, and I say generally because I haven't tipped it perfectly all the time, but
Yeah.
you generally know who's going to win, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
Shorey?
Yes, I think, what Crossy said is right. Yeah, I don't have too much to add, but yeah, they are closer up there. I don't have too much history with those clubs up there, so I'm just learning about them this season. But yes.
I mean, that's our border bubble playing havoc. Because obviously, Crossy can't come down to Lismore to have a glimpse of that. So I guess I'll go.
And they are less
on a goal perspective. Sorry,
they're less affected, and maybe that's got something to do with they're less affected by the border closures as well.
That's true. No, good point there, Shuri. That's I could totally agree with that because I mean, as I said, Mullum were one of the teams in the to make the top 5 and really have a goal, and now they're down the bottom of a 5-team competition to no fault of their own. So it's playing havoc on more teams than others, as we said, but. So that was the Gold Conference. So heading into the North Conference. So Tweed Coast versus Moolumbar, 18-10. Raiders actually beaten Moolumbar there. And so Crossy, you watched that game, and I watched it last night myself. I think Tweed changed their playbook up there a little bit compared to say. The last time they played the Mustangs, they sort of did a Morris Brothers and Northern United for that first quarter. They frustrated the Mustangs, and the Mustangs were making penalties they don't normally make. Like they're normally pretty conservative with the ball with Joe Besgrove and Cade Hill and stuff. But I just think they sort of just fell into some bad habits there in that first quarter, and Raiders were playing really conservative defense, just keeping just basically parked the bus on Moolumbar's 20-meter line, and Mustangs couldn't catch a break. Well, even though Mustangs were leading 10-6 at half time, I just think Raiders, as well as your man Lyndon McGrady, playing some slick attack. Dan Willoughby had a blinder, made about no less than 6 line breaks. Braden Matthews, I think, scored a try himself. So it was a textbook game for the Raiders. Strong defense, and then the attack came in the second half.
Yeah, mate, they're building, aren't they, the Raiders? I must admit, before I sort of talk too much about them, I thought the Mustangs played well. I thought they probably looked the most likely to win throughout that game. And I thought Cade Hill, the young 5'8", he was dangerous every time he got the ball. Joe Besgrove did go off. They had a try disallowed there under the sticks there, Nev, in that second half. He didn't look well, so hopefully for their sake, he's okay moving forward. But
that's right.
But yeah, mate, the Raiders, Lyndon McGrady, I thought was probably the best player on the field. He's everything to them. I've spoken about him before. I was talking to Jared DeTheory yesterday. Actually, he started at 5'8" for them and went out to centre. But we were talking about Lyndon McGrady yesterday, and as I said, I've said on the podcast, and I said to Fish, I said, mate, he's a very, very good Queensland Cup player, let alone a good local A-grader here. So to have him, it's pretty special. I mean, he can take them to a premiership, if they get all their troops back, which they are slowly getting their troops back now, boys. So according to Fish there yesterday. So I think they might be the two teams fighting it out on Grand Final day.
And you think if we had a full 10-team competition, 11-team competition, if we'd probably be seeing Ballina versus Tweed Coast again in the Grand Final. Tarn Robertson also coming back, so they missed him last year. And they got Lyndon McGrady at fullback. And this is all without the likes of Guy Lanston as well. So, as I said, we said at the start, they were just down on troops, but they've done well to muscle through it, the adversity. And then with their top lineup, they're going to be, you think now they'll probably be slight favourites, if not moving into solid favourites to win that the Tweed version of the competition. But as I made mention to Moola, though, with that being said, I'm just looking at the ladder here. We'll cover the ladder now. So basically, the top two is covered already. Tweed and Murbar will play each other in the first week. It's just a matter of who hosts, because Tweed are on 8, Moolumbar on 6. If Tweed win against Coogin on the weekend, it's theirs.
Yep.
If Moolumbar beat Balambal I think they take because they actually got the better for and against still 52 as opposed to Tweeds 14. Blamble Coogin, same deal. They're on 2 points, and there's only 6 points separating them in the for and against. So, so it's basically like first week finals is set up already. It's just a matter of who hosts. But
Yep.
And which could also prove the difference, knowing because I said Moranbah win by a cup. Sorry, Cozy.
Yeah, I was going to say, mate, I think it will. And talking to Fish yesterday, they're pretty motivated to win on the weekend and host that semi-final because, as we know, boys, hosting that semi-final, it's a huge advantage. And just thinking about Coogin this week, you know, they're going to have their young boys, the PBC boys. They play tomorrow in the state final, so they'll be unavailable.
Yeah.
They'll be backing up if at all they play. So
I'd
imagine the Raiders, I think they'll finish the top there, boys, and they'll play at the Raiders, and yeah, they'll be hard to beat.
Bring on week one of the finals. So Shori, anything you want to iterate?
Not too much, but yeah, I do like the Mustangs, and like you say, the Tweakos might be a favourite, but we've also said in the same breath that it's a toss of the coin. So whoever shows up on the day,
of course. And it's all come down to the home ground advantage because Moranbah were the better team. They frustrated the hell out of Tweed Coast when they played at the Leagues Club a few weeks ago. And that was also, you could have just said that was the deciding factor when all the loyal Mustangs, old boys and fans were there playing that first game at the Leagues Club there in the best part of 30 years. And then you take it to Cabba. It's a flips it. So it's going to, yeah, so you'd think like if the way things are going, if Raiders do take that first bite of the cherry in the finals, and then manage to get a grand final of sorts in a fortnight later, it could just put them in good stead to win that title.
Yeah, big time, mate. Definitely. And watching the Mustangs, when I watch that game. They're really well coached. Nathan Jordan's a good coach. He loves his attacking shape, Eggy, and they scored a really nice try for scrum, a set play. Cade Hill down the short side. They play nice and expansive footy now. Phil Ramage is a experienced half. He's played at Tugan. He's played at Currumbin up here. He's played in France. They've got what it takes to win it, the Mustangs, and they're starting to come good after a slow start. So it's a pretty exciting end of the finish. Exciting end to this year. In this Northern comp. Yeah.
So who would have said that this comp's watered down? You wouldn't know about some of the games, which brings me to the next game. Blamble versus Coogin out at the Valley. Mickey would have been handy tonight. He was there and then had about, a dozen beers and probably a dozen cocktails by the end of it. So he probably wouldn't remember much of it anyway. We feared that if he would wake up after that Monday, which I think was Blamble All Boys Day. But I actually watched that game very late on Monday night, if not early Tuesday morning, fellas. Up and that kept me up to 1 a.m. Watching it the other night. But with the start of that game, I had to make sure I didn't have it on fast forward or 1.5 speed because the flow of the game was so damn quick. Both teams went out of the blocks and it was so tit for tat, and it was a 12-all draw as well. So. And of course, unfortunately, it was hindered by the very serious and nasty injury to Jamie Wolf with his he broke a fibula and tibula, as it turns out, which put the halt to the game. And if you're watching, buddy, I hope you have a speedy recovery. It was nasty to watch. I've seen what happened. So what actually transpired. So this was at the very, obviously, it was at the beginning of the third quarter. And so what happened was Jackson really, it was a bit of a messy play. Coogin were bashing on Blamble's line underneath. And I guess the real unfortunate part about it, Jamie Wolf was over on his, he played center, but he was over in the wing, and there was a big gap. And so it looked like the ball control for Coogin was probably a bit scrappy. But what happened was, Jackson Rohita managed to gather it, go around the ruck through the breakdown, and then Jamie Wolf, who was Buckley's chance at worst, and probably his only chance he would have been if he knocked the ball out and forced the infringement. He was never going to make the tackle. It was probably at a decent 5-meter gap, but he's charged up there and had a go at trying to take on Jackson Roheda. And Jackson, like his right ankle, I think it was, caught under Jackson, and he collapsed on it. And Jackson, I think, done his lower back in the process, scored the try. And but as I said, it was one of those ones that really could have been avoided because, like, he just went on. I think Jamie just went on instinct and had a go. Best case scenario, he might have forced an infringement, but poor fella is now looking at I think correct me if I'm wrong, Crossy, 3 to 6 months, normally something like that. He's got
at least, mate.
Yeah, so
yeah, he looks at least judging by the Jets Instagram, there was a photo of him there in the lounge there either today or yesterday. So that's good. But did you want to share, Nev, what Mickey thought, how that could have been avoided?
I'll let me.
Well,
go. If you wanna...
I was going to say, Jamie. Mickey just thought it was strange that you're actually chasing in cover, mate. So that's what Mickey thought. But
anyway. Sorry, what was that?
No, Mickey just said in our group chat, he said, it could have been avoided, that injury. You know, it's the first time Jamie's ever done any covered tackling. So,
right.
He shouldn't have done that. But
well, his first time of going, he was
time for everything. Yeah.
But as I said, like you can't think of what could have happened if I'd done this, and this. You know, that's just football. You know, that's just, unfortunately, it's the risks that we take, and the players know the risks and they love doing it, and the risks sometimes is worth what they're doing, and that's why they play football every Sunday. So it
was a great attitude play from Jamie, and it typified what the Jets are all about. To be fair, and it was a great day there, the old boys' day. Special mention to Hayden Hanson. He got the players' player for the old boys. Yeah,
got 2 tries.
We've spoken about Ollie Regan being a great pickup for the Jets, but Hanson just as much. You know, he was enormous for the Seagulls last year, and he's continued it on this year for the Jets.
And I'll and just going a bit more about the game itself, like probably I mean, I think Ben O'Gorman played well at 6. They had Jack Field start. Another debutant, Jack Field. So I've watched him come up from the 16th, the Titans, Northern Rivers Titans squad. Joel Hare was playing in the centres, which so again they're still tinkering with their back line, but this one was working quite well, I believe. Mark Grady was playing at halfback, and I think Caleb Zeeble, it's just a freight train, but unfortunately he had his own knee injury, which I think he had to have surgery on. I could be. Excuse me.
You've been tested recently, Dwayne?
Sorry, Sherry, what was that?
Have you been tested recently?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you over all the noise there at the RSM club. But
never mind. Just don't forget to wash your hands.
Yeah,
Mr. Sanitizer himself.
That's right. No, I sneezed into my elbow there, Shori. I'm COVID safe, so it's COVID safe here in this little bunker in Byron. But just to go into more detail, I just think Oliver Regan whilst he has an amazing running game, I still think, as I just said about, I could put him in the same group as the Casino Cougars. Only if he had, because he's a late pickup, obviously, by the Blamble Jets. If he had another 4 or 5 games with them, we'd probably see his peak, because he's still gelling with a lot of these players. Because, he's been playing a lot of his games with Ballina, obviously, and gelled to that spine. And whilst he's still got his running game, and it showed in spades, it would just be interesting to see his full potential after giving another 3 or 4 games with the Jets. And if they can somehow push for a grand final spot, how valuable he actually will be.
Absolutely, mate. You know my thoughts on him. He could potentially, if Blamble can get enough of their troops back, and it sounds like we're talking about all teams waiting on troops back, but if they can be close enough in games, Regan can get them home in some games. So,
absolutely.
They could. It is toss a coin in that Northern Comp.
Yeah. So and I'll tell you what though, in the same token as I talk about Tweed and Moorlambar for first versus second, whoever's going to get the home advantage out of Blamble and Coogin in the other semi is going to be proven to be quite a treat, because it could also be proven the difference. You just could not split either of those teams. You could not split them when they last played out at Coogin. the only other time, and it was only one insanely perfect quarter from Coogin that split them the time before that in the null and void rounds. So, bring on that final series, I tell you. Like, bring on after next week. Just bring on that final series. I cannot wait for the Tweed and the other final series as well. So both final series. I think there's going to be a lot more great footy ahead of us, lads. Bring it.
So, Nev, will we live stream both those semi-finals week one, the minor semi and the major?
We're still determining which ones are going to be done and stuff, but hopefully we'll have an answer. Well, obviously by the weekend or not long after. But let's put it this way: if we don't live stream, they'll be up on every game's going to be up on the page. Yeah,
of course,
great games, and then so you will not miss out. We will make it work here. Okay, as we get ready to cover round 6, we just want to make notice. Crossy, we've got a new name for our colleague here. Do we want to share that and just become live in that group chat we just had?
Well, mate, we know that he's well known. Well, he calls himself Sure Thing Shorey, but yeah, we prefer to call him Stitch Up Shorey. Really, Stitch Up Shorey.
You don't,
mate. I was just down. I was around the canteen on the weekend, and all the Marist LLT girls were down there, the Ramettes, I think they're called. And I say, Shorey, can you please tell Crossy just to get a backlight so we can see his curly white on the podcast? We all tune in after training every Tuesday and Thursday, but we can't see his face. So a bit more backlighting, please.
No, that sounds like a very realistic story.
You know what? And it probably is, but it didn't come from the Maris Ladies tag. It probably came from Goffy. It was Goffy.
Yes, it was Goffy. It was our producer.
Yeah, Goffy would have been saying that. Now, we need to see more of Crossy's face. But
that's right.
And the reason, though, you lose the Sure Thing Shorey tag is because when you look at the tips that we had, like, it was a bit of a bludger around. But Crossy, you got 2, which was actually the chip leader this weekend. So 2 out of 4.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
because I was 2-1.
Yeah, me and Mickey got 1, and the Sure Thing Shorey goes with a duck egg to Shorey. So,
Shorey.
It's as hard to get none as it is to get 4, so I win.
No, that's not how it works. We're not playing to be a loser here, Shorey.
Wow.
That's loser talk. That's loser.
All right, you see if you can get 0 next week. I bet you can't.
I reckon I could. It's not hard. It's not hard, Shorey. I'll just do what you do and don't watch any games. That's how even in commentary, you're there talking to our new stats man. So
we do have a new stats man. Shout out Andrew Hornery.
Yeah, so we got him off the passion fruit farm because passion fruits are dying off in the off season.
Hornery.
Yeah, so it's
there you go.
Bit of Newrybar, a legend of Newrybar. If you want to look up Newrybar, you think of the Hornerys, especially with the passion fruit. So they've been there.
They're a great family, the Hornery family.
Yeah, they've been there more years than I wish to admit. So, and I was there and I came there in like 1990, no, actually 89. So, and they were there well before that. So it's like the royal family of Newrybar.
Yeah,
so to speak. But anyway, let's not get sidetracked. Round 6 of NRRRL action this weekend. So just to we covered the tweet ladder. I'll give you the Lismore Ballina bubble, so to speak, ladder. So Ballina on 8 points, 144 differential. Northern United, as I said, still sitting on 6. You could bet that would be a swap with Maris Brothers. After this weekend, Casino getting their first points on 2, and Mullum, unfortunately, still yet to get any points this year. I think they count 2 points for buys, but that's all null and void, so we just count them as wins here. So let's move on to, I'll just see if I can bring the screen up here, for the draw for round 6. Mickey has provided his tips. I'll have to go back in the group chat to figure that out, but I know he's still holding strong with Northern and Bilamble. Lock and loaded. So he's picked Northern to beat Ballina despite Ballina being on top, and so he's still brave. He's still brazen, but I think he's
like me tipping Broncos on the weekend.
Pretty much, yeah, against the Titans. Broncos were never going to win. I can tell you that right now.
Imbeciles.
Yeah. So Moolumbar. Okay, let's bring that one up. Moolumbar, Balamble. Go you first, Shory.
Moolumbar Mustangs. I'm backing them. I'm flogging the horse, flogging the pony.
Is your Nimbin time still there, Kramer?
Working it. You're feeling it.
Well, I got to keep going. They're due for a win. I like what Crossy said before. I think they're well coached. And just when we went out there and called that game, Dwayne, I just saw so much in them. So if they can do that. Sorry, where are they playing?
Merba, Stan Seckham.
Yeah, they're on. Moolumbar,
Okay.
100%.
Okay, and you've just given me an idea there, which I'll bring up in a sec. But Crossy, Merba, Balamble.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from the Mustangs on the weekend. The Jets were gritty in their game, but the Mustangs are starting to hit their straps, so they'll be winning that one.
Okay, so Merba. Sorry, I better write this down, otherwise I will be like Richard Nixon. Just forget because you're only one behind. So you're on 14 points. I'm on 15, 12, and Mickey's on 10. So, I don't want to make it feel like I'm just nodding off where you're giving tips and then making it up as I go along, Crossy. I don't want to do that to you. So,
just look over your shoulder, pal.
okay. Oh, hang on. I'm just so anyway. So something I thought I'd show here while we're talking, like when Shory just said they're flogging the ponies, so to speak. So let's bring this up here. This is our bit of pre-season banter.
There you go. Yeah, it was. Yeah. The gambling game's going off, baby. We got 13-1. We got to win it. The horses are running. Everyone's running. Call up. Give us your best odds. We'll punt.
Sure. You have your own bet. Yeah, but there wasn't the Sunny B didn't take it as a private moment, buddy. So that was.
I was nearly on there.
You were nearly on. That was actually that almost actually did come off. To memory.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say that's Stitch Up Shory at his best there at the Sun Bistro in Byron Bay. I love it.
Oh, mate, you'll have your own show soon, like, and then with cricket coming up. So, all right, to better get back on topic. Moolumbar. I think it'll be they put Balamble to the sword. Last time that they played out at the Valley, and I think it's whilst I don't think it'll happen this time. I think Moolumbar they're just like they found their groove, and I think Balamble they're going to miss Jamie Wolf, and I just think out at Stan Seckham, I think Moolumbar by about 8 points. I'll go. So then the next game will be, I think it's out of Coogin and Tweed Coast Crossy.
I'm going to tip the Raiders, mate. I think they're going to need to win this game to secure that top spot in that home semi-final. So I think Coogin are a little bit wounded still. I'm not sure if those young boys will come back and back up after tomorrow's big game in Townsville. So the Raiders, Nev.
It's all the way up in Townsville, is it?
They're playing Kerwin State High. Big game tomorrow. So good luck to Brad Davis and the boys, Jalen and young Tommy Weaver, Butterini. There's quite a few NRRRL boys playing there. And the Bryant boys, Oscar and Parker, both playing. Hope I've missed anyone.
And that's a single day trip too. I do remember actually reading that. So they're going up and back in the same day. But that's quite a hike. Yeah. But
it's tough. Mate, we used to do that all the time with the Titans under 20s. We'd fly up in the morning and. Mate, we used to fly to Penrith. I digress a bit, but we played the Panthers out at Panthers Stadium out there and not get back till 1 or 2 in the morning the next day. Like it was the big days. So, but great experience for those young boys. So
absolutely.
Good luck to the PBC lads.
And a lot of those boys travelled around the UK, so they're sort of used to it. And then there's a bit of trouble involved with Northern Rivers Titans in the Laurie Daly and Andrew Johns Cup with the statewide comp. But yeah, Shory, your take.
I haven't watched too many of the Northern comp games, but I have seen Tweed Coast have really impressed me, and Coogin have not as much. So I will be going Tweed Coast Raiders, and yes, that's my tip. I reckon I've probably got a perfect score this week.
Perfect score, but but perfect enough to change your nickname. Let's put it that way. But okay, for me, Tweed Coast Raiders and Coogin. I'm gonna say Tweed Coast, and I'm gonna say it because, well, a big reason is Caleb Zeeble. They're gonna miss him on the field. He's as I said, he's despite the backline changes, and I think it hasn't all been bad for Coogin. It's certainly not. And like they were well in the game against Blamble the other week. A lot of those tries they scored were in the opposition 20, from that have a whole set of 6 inside the opposition 20, and and a big part of that is because Caleb Zeeble was just a freight train smashing it up from his end of the field to the other. And he gets you at least 30 meters just about more times than not. They're going to miss him, and then the Tweed Coast forwards are notorious to playing like steady defense and then using their force to get over, as well as their backlines, nothing to sneeze about either. So I think Raiders, and I think they'll win by about a couple of tries, maybe about 12. So I'll say Raiders there. So the other match, Mullumbimby versus Maris Brothers. Shori.
Maris Brothers way too strong. Mullumbimby down on personnel. Maris looked really slick on the weekend. They're a tight team. They're in sync and they're on a charge. Maris.
Crossy?
Couldn't have said that any better than what Stitch Up Shorey just said. So Maris Brothers for me.
Yeah. I'm going to say Maris because there's every chance that Shorey might have to play for Mullum on Sunday.
Great point.
Poor guys. They're just... They're almost going to, it's like even Glenn Crusher Abbott might have to make a cameo as well. But in all seriousness, those guys are just, they've had a bludger of a restart of this campaign. It looks so promising for them with their best 1-17. They had some good things on the horizon, and unfortunately nothing more than just some bad injuries and some border issues, which make
the New Zealand Warriors of the NRRRL.
Yeah, well, it's the thing is that
hold that together.
Have their time again. You'd have them in the Northern Conference. As I said, Mullum play in the Group 18 competition, so it makes sense that you kind of replicate that from the senior point of view. However, Marist, they play anything like they did last week, and it's what can you say? So I'm going to say, so I'll say Marist, but that being said, Marist will still have to play their best footy. Because if they play anything like they did before that game against Northern, it might be closer than most people think. But I just think Mullum, it's like you got to give them a pat on the back for having a go in this, because a lot of teams would have pulled it in by this point. So 2 more games to go, and just give it their best shot and just have a dig. So the next game is I think it's out at Crozer Oval, Northern United against Ballina. Shorey.
Ballina for sure. Northern, I don't think they've got the full 18-man squad to challenge Ballina of what Ballina can do. They will have flashes of brilliance, but yes, I think the Seagulls will just wear them down and just suffocate them.
Crossy?
Yeah, I'll be tipping the Seagulls. I'd love to know for Northern what's happened to Brett Kelly. He hasn't been playing for a few weeks, and he's
maybe the border, because didn't he come from Q Cup?
Possibly, yeah. Well, he was up at East last year, East Tigers in the Queensland Cup, but he came back. But yeah, that could be a good point, Nev, whether he was living up the coast. So I haven't spoken to Clarence or any of the boys there. I don't know, but they've missed him because he can. Yeah, he can win him a game on his own at times. But the Seagulls will be too strong, Nev.
Yeah, I'll say.
If anyone from Northern's listening, it'd be great to have someone on from their club. It's the best ground to call from. It's great hospitality. We're hanging out up there with Laurie and the guys in the box.
They're a good club, great club. And I said to a couple of the boys the other day, like, if reach out to us, any of the players want to have a chat, just send an Instagram. Like, we probably can't do it. Obviously, if we get a few players, we do one per week. It's going to be a bit tight. We maybe when it comes to finals, we might have a couple of someone from the participating clubs in the finals, because there won't be as many games to cover. But even in the off season, like we want to hear about the players and learn a bit more of the players and give them a profile. So hit us up on the DUANEO podcast Instagram page. We don't have Facebook, so just hit us a message there, and it might not happen, the next week, but we'll make it happen. Would love to find out more about all of you players out there, and some of the coaches as well. If you're involved in rugby league, just hit us a message and we'll get on for a chat. But to say Ballina Northern United, you got to say Ballina. I just think if Northern can make a contest of it in the first, it's going to be how this game's going to go. Be critical in the first 20 minutes of the game. When they lost by 50-odd points, that's one time at Ballina, it was Ballina just basically put them to the sword in the first 20 minutes, and Northern just couldn't wait to get on the bus back home. If Northern make it a bit of a contest, sort of just take Ballina out of their groove a bit, and they could just get a few quick tries, it might be closer than you think. I still think Ballina, but I'm going to reserve judgment on how much, depending on that first 20, 30 minutes. If Northern play like they did against Mullum, for example, a fortnight ago, I could say that it could be as close as 10 points in it. It could be anywhere between 10 and 50 points, I think. I know I'm stretching a long bow, but I really think
you're wide net there, man.
Yeah, I reckon if Northern just, play a good first 20 minutes and take Ballina out of their groove. It's like I said the same thing when they played Casino, those two games. And it pretty much paid off as it did. If they have played Ballina, if they stand up to Ballina, it's I think it'll be closer than what you think, but I just think it's more of a structure and the consistency throughout the game, which Ballina is the core at winning this game.
I'll be interested to see what sort of haircuts the Ballina boys run out with. I'm looking particularly Luke Douglas, Dougie. I'm looking at you, mate. Jess Perry, Ant Coleman. I'd love to see if Coleman's done something there, but all for a good cause, as we'll touch on with later in the show with Rod.
So speaking of which, coming up next is Rod Joyce, who looks after the ladies in the Ballina Seagulls, but we'll also have a talk about the Black Dog Institute, which is a great cause that the Ballina Seagulls are looking after for mental health awareness. So don't go anywhere. We'll have a chat to Rod and to learn about all things that are happening in the Ballina Seagulls. There's plenty of things happening there. As I said, they're doing great things as they do in the goal competition. And we're back here on the DUANEO podcast, episode 16. So joining for a chat, we're going for a little bit of a different direction. We've had numerous players, mainly fullbacks. So we take a bit of a different approach and get one of the blokes who sits on the sidelines, and be it that from the Ballina ladies tag team, and as well, we're going to have a chat about the Black Dog Institute, which is a great cause. Some of the Ballina has been behind for some time, and we'll get in more depth with that with none other than Rodney Joyce. Rod, you said to me privately, a bit of banter saying, "This is the Byron podcast, mate. I'm wearing my Parkway Drive t-shirt for you, just to fit the occasion, mate."
Yeah, awesome, mate. It looks great. It looks great on you.
Oh, mate. As I said, I bought this. This is from the 2005 tour, so that just goes.
I can tell that. It looks a bit tight, mate. It looks a bit tight.
Well, mate, I think it's tighter here than here. So
that's all right, mate. That's the best spots for them to be tight.
That's exactly right. So as I may mention, you look after the ladies tag team, and so just to give the viewers make them feel a bit familiar. I know, and when covering the representative rounds, Abby Beecher and Michelle Clark stand to mind. I'm covering their when they're playing for the Titans, tackle and the tag. But who are some of the players that you've seen throughout the years that the punters need to keep an eye for?
Oh, mate, geez, the whole, I've got 18 girls every year. I get 18 girls turning up, and each one of them, in their own ability, is just top notch, But look, we've got a couple of girls playing at Tweed Coast Seagulls until COVID hit and shut the borders down, which stopped their comp up there with Abby Beecher and Lizzie Ross. They were playing out of there. They've been up there for, I think this is maybe their second year.
Yeah.
And then they sort of got a bridging thing, so they can also play with us on their weeks off. So they've never let me. They've never left me. They've been with me from the start, pretty much since day one. For 4 years, we've been doing this. I've been coaching. So yeah, I see what Shorey's done. It's nice.
Yeah, so just picking up where we left off on Sunday, but just not to stray too far off the whole ladies tag. But we spoke about regularly about this bubble and the Tweed bubble and what's in and what's not, and Ballina hasn't not had their fair share of adversity when it comes to that, and you probably would have seen over on Blamble Jet story another than Oliver Regan, which I think we put the idea into his head to when we did have him on the show that maybe if he picked him up at Tweed that he would end up at Blamble, but we didn't think he'd go for it literally. But how's that affected? Well, the Ballina scale, but as well as more specifically the ladies. As you made mention, there's a couple that went up to Tweed Coast, and I guess the Gold Coast competition up there as well. But how's that affected the girls on your end?
It hasn't really affected us at all. With girls all our girls are mostly local anyway, so it hasn't really affected any girls. It's actually been a positive because we got Abby and Lizzie back full time. Yep. So it was really good in that aspect. Ollie, he's a dead set champion. The bloke that does our Instagram page pastes him a fair bit. So, but he's a great sport, and he's a great guy with the girls.
So whilst as you just said there, Rod, that you might not have had problem with the ladies, but the competition itself, having been split into two bubbles, the Gold Comp had 5 teams through through A grade, but of course no casino this year means you only got 4. So you get, unfortunately for your team, I noticed that you've had more buys than games thus far. You guys haven't played, I don't think, since or girls haven't played since August 31. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, mate. We've had 2 buys with Casino. Two games against Casino, which they didn't have a side, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then we had a buy, but we're back this week again. We've got 3 weeks to go.
Against Northern United, I think.
Yeah, we've got Northern up there. Then we've got Marsh Brothers and Mullumbimby at home. And unfortunately, also the girls, they've only had 1 home game this year too, which is which is unfortunate to not be able to play in front of our home team. But seriously, they don't care where they play, really. The girls just love playing football and love getting the steam in their hands. They just love it. I don't have any problems with getting girls to training.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the determination we want to see, like across all grades. Crossy, anything you want to patch through?
Yeah, Rod. Just wondering, mate, a couple of things. Firstly, are Marsh Brothers the team to beat again this year, like most years?
Yeah, mate, they are. They're the team to beat. They're a good side. We're getting closer over the years. Yep. We're getting closer and closer and closer to them. But they're the benchmark, mate. But they beat us 20 points to 8 or something like that last round, something like that, close enough to that. But look, we've got 3 weeks to go. We play them all again. We play everyone another once time before the sem, and we all make the semis. And as you all guys know, it's pretty much a different ball game in the semi-final time. It comes down to, in our semis, I think it's the same as the men's, the top 4. There's only 4 teams. So as I say to the girls, these next 4 weeks, we just take the 3 games as we play and just get better and better each week. And this final time, that's it. So just hook in, basically.
It's anyone's game then, isn't it? I know that DUANEO and I, for the last few years, we've sort of either called or been involved and watching those Ladies League Tag semi-finals and grand finals, and it's tossed up a few upsets on the day, hasn't it? So,
absolutely,
mate, as you're saying, anything can happen. But yeah, Nev, it's just thinking back to a couple of those grand finals. I think the Bay in 2017 potentially.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then the Raiderettes. Was that last year?
Well, Shorey was on the mic with Kelly, Dunbar Reed, last year, about a year ago. So I'm Shorey, anything you want to iterate, like, because you actually were there calling that one last year.
Yeah, it's good quality football, but I know Rod's putting a lot of effort in, and I think the girls want to start tackling, and that's something you've spoke to me about before, Rod. The girls want to tackle. Is that correct?
Mate, do they what? Yeah, mate. Look, not every single one of our girls wants to play tackle, but at least like 95% of them do. They're just they're frothing for it. It's unfortunately like we're losing girls over the border to go and play because it's purely tackle. And never would have seen the union out there, and that the union starting to encroach on our area with right. They're getting more and more numbers as well. And look, I don't want to. I'm not here to bag union. I agree. You just go and play any sport, whatever you enjoy. But purely and simply, a lot of them are only going there duly because it's a contact. They've got tackle involved, and we would get we'd probably lose a few. But as I've been saying over the years to the NRRRL and people that sort of listening, that we're going to gain a lot more than we'll lose. And I just don't want to see one of the girls. We've got so much talent in this area. It's unbelievable. Like I've got a couple of young girls in my team. They're only 17 years old, and mate, they kick both feet. They chip and chase. They regather. And they tackle well. They play the knockouts every year. They're just some of the most freakish talent I've ever seen, getting around. But I just don't want to see another sort of Greg Inglis, I don't want to see a girl from our area go and represent Queensland because that's where they're playing their tackle. So,
and so what's the limitations that you're finding? What's kind of stopping it? Or is there a groundswell of other support? Do other clubs want to get in on it?
There is a groundswell. Like before the season started, I know there is a few down the southern end. I'm not quite sure about the northern end of the comp, but I do know that the lowers and the casinos and northerns are all behind it. Before the COVID thing kicked off, we did have a few teams pull out anyway through lack of numbers. So look, I'm not quite sure that if we're starting to look. Like it's been great that league tags brought in and it's brought the girls be able to play the game. Like. You got to look at girls have been going to football for since it got incorporated back in the 1900s just to watch their husbands and boyfriends play. But now they've got that opportunity, and I just believe let's give them the opportunity they want, which is probably tackle. This COVID period's shown that we can sort of maybe have a league tag and a tackle. We've broken it up in two comps, so I can't see. Just give the girls a chance. Just give them a chance to. And like seriously, you go and watch. We had a little mini knockout over the Christmas period before the Christmas period to pick the group side to go and play country champs. And the crowds were into it. I don't know what it is. Females bashing females. They just the crowd just goes berserk. Like up at the Bleed Coast there. We had
NRRL women's been I love watching the NRRL women's games. Fantastic competition to watch, and does make it more exciting. I don't watch many men's touch competitions, but I do watch a tackle.
And look, and unfortunately, league tag it sort of it doesn't really sort of let the bigger girls show their talents of standing in tackles and offloading the ball. They sort of they with the tags on the pants, it just take the tag off, but they really can't show their skill and their class. So.
And I can certainly vouch for when you're saying the crowds get more involved with the women's tackle, because even this year they were playing. Because I covered the Northern Rivers Titans versus Great Northern Tigers and Lismore. Whilst unfortunately from a Northern Rivers point of view, they didn't get the win, but the crowd were getting more involved, and the hits just it's like firecrackers every time one of those a lady would just drop a shoulder in. And but when we've talked about it a couple of weeks ago, a couple of podcasts ago, about some of these younger 18-year-olds that are backing up to play Reggies and then first grade. So why not have a ladies tag and a tackle, and then who wants to play either and who wants to play both even, and have a go. So I think you're right. There needs to be some sort of option there. Whether it happens next year or as we start to recover from the whole COVID mess, and what if there's the conference thing's going to be something in the future remains to be seen, though. So as I may mention at the start there, Rod, we're talking about the Black Dog Institute. So give us a bit of insight about that, and how long's the Seagulls been involved with that?
Yeah, Jess Perry raised it at the start of September because the Black Dog Institute were promoting a mullet a month with mullet to shave a mullet. And as you've probably seen haircuts around this day and age with young kids, we threw that out, and mate, we had they were lighting up. We had to cut it short because training we had to start. And Dougie was there doing his own with his mirror in his hand. He done his own mullet. So we raced over $300 just in that one night within 45 minutes to and cut some mullets in. We got some shirts donated by Paul Sirian, who's a bit of a Ballina local.
Yep.
He's been around this area for about 20 years. He lives in Sydney, but he comes up to a bit. Very good, very close friends with Al Perry, our president. Him and his sons, Bailey and Curtis, have donated footy jumpers from Manly. I think it was an Indigenous round jumper and also a South jumper. And we've got a New South Wales jumper fully signed. We're going to be sort of online auctioning off within the next week or so. And all money raised will go to the Black Dog Institute just to raise awareness and get it out there that it's okay to ask for help and
absolutely
everyone.
I'll be putting some bids in for that. That's for sure.
And
get off the Manly one though, Shorey. That's all mine, mate.
and I'll absolutely champion that, Rod. Especially like if you're a bloke or anybody, if you're suffering, it's okay to speak up. And I know with all the times we're going through, especially with COVID, and especially even more so, it's happening in Melbourne with all the lockdowns and stuff. But it's us duties as men to actually talk up, because you just don't know. And I can speak from a personal scale. In the last 12 months, it's been probably more out of two of those occasions, one hit home a little bit. And this was all pre-COVID, and it's just both of those occasions were just, it's like it didn't make sense on any regard, and you just don't know it. So if you're struggling out there, guys, put your hand up, and if even message me if you need a mate. Just speak out, especially during these tough times, because it's there's a lot of people out there struggling, and a lot of people feel that we live in a hopeless world. But we'll get through all this COVID garbage, and things will be brighter. But Crossy, is there anything you want to add?
Oh no, I just want to back that up and to Rod and the boys, Dougie and Jess Perry. Sounds like, as Rod said, he had the idea. Well done, boys. It's certainly it's very prevalent now, and at least now moving forward with all the awareness around it, blokes are feeling more comfortable in coming forward and having a chat, which is great. So the Seagulls and Rod and all the boys there, great job. It's it's something, and I think as much as it's a big thing now, I think it's unfortunately going to get bigger and bigger off the back of COVID. And when we see things like JobKeeper and all these sort of things start coming off, we might see a bit of carnage in respect to the economy, as everyone talks about. So good stuff, Rod and the boys. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Look, I'm a fair champion of it, not as a champion, but at my work. So I sort of also promoted at my work as well within the construction industry. Like the stats pretty much speak for themselves. Over 3,000 people a year commit suicide, 65,000 attempt it. Now you look at that, that's like 8 a day. You look at COVID, we've had 815, deaths to COVID, but that's on the news every day.
Yeah.
So, and 75% of men and 25% of women. And when I sat through a course last year, the reason why that stat is so high and so low is because women talk. Right. Women talk to each other, and men, we sort of try to keep that bravado thing and just don't say it. But on a personal note, the time I actually said I had a problem and seeked help, for 10 years I struggled just not saying a word. As soon as I said a word and got my help I needed, it was just it was the start of my new life. But it's and the only thing I ever got prescribed, I thought I needed medication to because everything I was thinking about through the day, when I went to sleep, I dreamt about the same thing, so I never got a break. The guy prescribed to me exercise. He said, just get out there and exercise, and it's just been a huge thing. I got back to, I exercised, lost my weight, and coach football. I got back into coaching football, which I bloody love, you know, like, and that's why I purely do it. I purely do football. I don't, you know, we all go out to win games of football, but I purely do it to, I just see those joys on my girls' faces, you know, it just means the world to me. You know, yeah, I want to win. Wins and losses don't mean much to me. It's just my wins and losses of seeing those girls come to training. They jump out of cars and come running, and yeah, it's sort of like I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm just everything now with them. They're just a great bunch of girls, and it's good to see them smiling and happy. And just a team sport, you know. And any sport helps you get over your mental whatever you've got. So it's just great to be a part of it.
You're certainly fighting
Awesome,
the good.
mate.
You're certainly fighting the good fight there, right? And if we can just play a small part here, getting you on this podcast to talk about it, then we've, you know, it's an absolute honour to be on this little, or this wagon with you with awareness and stuff. And as I said, two occasions for me, even pre-COVID, and it's you know, it's, I just wish, you know, we could have had this awareness 12 months ago. But with that being said, Rod, so moving on, so you've got, as I said, you've got Northern United, you play a couple of games there, so I think you're coming second with the girls. As you said, you don't mind win or losing, but what's the sort of thought process going into these next few games?
Oh, look, you know, with girls, we've got to remember too, with girls, like I've got some new girls that have never played before. They just want to play rugby league. The boyfriends that play it. So, you know, like we had 5 injuries in probably a week and a half. 2 girls done ACLs. Girl broke a finger. 1 girl moved to Sydney. So we've recruited some girls up from the under 16s who are over 16. So, yeah, we just want to, I think it's just, they talk off the field.
Yeah,
I can't shut them off. I can't shut them off the field and at training. Get them on the field. They cross that white line and they just clamp up. Girls, talk like you do at training. It'll be awesome if you talk like that at training out on the field. But yeah, it's just purely concentrating on you know, 3 weeks out. We've done all our fitness. We've done everything we can with regards to that. It's just a bit of ball skills and just ball work, basically, just nailing our sets down, getting our structure right, and just hopefully, we're out to win. Don't worry about that. But no use winning without a smile on your face, I can say.
Well, I'm looking forward to. Well, I'm looking forward to if providing they make it. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Grand Final Day, which should be October 18, or one of the finals before that. Hopefully, the other 2 boys. Well, Mickey Coleman's not with us tonight because he's had some other things come up, but I know he would have loved to talk more about the whole Oliver Regan chat, being from Bilambil. So, but hopefully the Crossy and Mickey can come down and see you girls in action if they're allowed to come this way by October 17. But I'll certainly be there, and Shorey will be there as well. And hopefully you girls can, for the Ballina's sake, put an effort in and win a title this year, even be it in a shorter competition.
Oh, mate, it's just good to be there playing. Like the NRRRL have really years of set up throughout the, you know, I am a loyal listener. Don't worry about that. So I do listen to you.
I know you are.
I pretty much know you pretty well. But as you have always reiterated all the way through, NRRRL has done an amazing job to get us on the field.
Absolutely.
You know? So if it's against 4 teams, you know, we'd play against the same team each week. They'd probably get a bit, but you know, they just keep running out there and playing. So we'll play to win. We'll get out there and we'll give it I tell you what, the girls will give it 100%. Don't worry about that.
And I know they will, but with your guidance, Rodney.
I don't know about that.
Well, mate, you just got to mate. As I said, more Parkway Drive at training, less Nickelback, and they'll be sweet. They'll get anyone pumped up. Trust me.
The girls have got their own music in the shed. Scotty Redford does it. He said, "How do you listen to this shit? I can't even understand what they're saying. What are they talking about? You know, it's all the you know, the I don't know, what is it, R&B, rap? I don't know."
What does Scotty offer up, Rod, in the sheds? Anything?
Oh, mate, he loves his Akadaka. He's old school, like probably all of us. He loves his Akadaka. He loves his Guns N' Roses. He's pretty much the man with the music box. You're not allowed to sort of touch it, eh? Like he comes in, like he's a legend, eh? Like Scotty Redford.
Yeah.
Without guys like him, the clubs don't operate. But he's in there like before, and that's a big. Just last shout out to Dougie. Like we had Jamie last year, who was a dead set legend, but Dougie, mate, like. I didn't even know, like, he gets there and watches our game. You know, like, he's there watching our games, and he comes up to me at training, And I don't, you probably know Crossy, and I don't know if the other boys know, but he's such a lovely bloke. You know, he comes up to me and oh, Rod, do you mind? I've sort of seen this, something I can fix out there on the field. Just if we do this field, do you mind if I run them through it? I said, mind, I'd love you to. So he's a legend bloke.
He's a ripper, mate. Yeah.
He just says, I can't hear you. Get on me other side, because he's got the big cauliflower ears sticking out like that, you know. So.
He does, yeah.
All right, Rod. Best of luck against Northern on Sunday, and no doubt we look forward to seeing you during the finals.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything, and go out and live your dreams. That's all I can say. Thank you very much.
And that
Rod, keep up all the humour on your Instagram page. It's very fun.
We love the banter. We love that Ballina Byron banter. As I said, I wore this shirt just for you today, Rod. just for you.
Yeah, you got to get the traffic flowing. If it's through a bit of comedy, let's that's the way it happens.
Times like this, you got to laugh. So that was Rodney Joyce Ballina, Ladies League Tag coach, and hopefully for their sake, they go and do some great things in that Southern bubble. That is all she wrote for the DUANEO podcast tonight. And we'll see you on the Match of the Round on Mark-Off Media come Sunday. And until then, subscribe to the channel and follow the Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. And as I said, this is also on Spotify and iTunes. So until then, we'll see you Sunday. Have a good night.